Hello everyone and welcome back to my opinion. And in this video I'll kind of be giving an overview of what I think about each of the eight teams as far as the two games that they've played so far. And so today the Chennai Super Kings beat the Punjab Kings very convincingly by 6 wickets. And the man of the match for this game was Deepak Chahar, who took 4 for 13 and 4 overs with 18 dot balls in that. And he completely just rocked Punjab completely. And yeah, the fact is that Punjab only managed to score 106 for 8 in their first innings, and CSK chased it down easily. I mean, there was a bit of a jitter at the end, but you never thought that they weren't going to win the game at that stage. So CSK won the game by 6 wickets. And as a CSK supporter, I feel that it was, it's a very good win for us. And I wasn't surprised that we beat Punjab because you saw in the previous season when we actually had a wretched season, and we probably still have a few of the same problems, many of the same problems in this season. I just thought that amongst all of that, you saw both the times we played Punjab, I mean, we kind of just brushed them aside, really. And, there were kind of different stakes to both those games. So the first game was when both the teams early on when both the teams were in the tournament, and in this game, in the second game in that season, Punjab had to win it so that a top four place would basically be assured for them. But CSK won that game in the end, and both times they brushed Punjab aside. So I wasn't surprised that we like that we won this game because I was expecting us to win this game, and yeah, we did exactly that. And so out of Deepak Chahar's 4 wickets, I thought the best one out of all of them was actually the very first one that he got in the first over where Mayank Agarwal was bowled for a duck. The ball pitched on middle stump and swung away and hit the off stump, and any batsman would have got out to that. But one thing is, with this Punjab team, it's like I feel very sad when their top four gets out, especially that one of their top two gets out, because I really like watching them bat. And Mayank Agarwal is, he's one of those people who I think I spoke about, last season where I really thought that he should have got more than the amount of runs he got. I mean, 438 isn't bad at all, but if you looked at, he looked $1 billion whenever he walked out to bat. And so I really, thought he should have got a 500, even 550 run season in the previous season. And I hope that he can get to the 500 mark this season. I mean, he hasn't had a great start, but I'm sure that he will come good. And so Punjab found themselves now 26 for 5. And the thing was they never really got going at all. And that was an understatement. So first, Mayank Agarwal got out the way he did. Then KL Rahul got run out by a bit of brilliance from Ravindra Jadeja. And then Chris Gill was actually a very good slow ball from Deepak Chahar, and it was an excellent catch by Jadeja as well. And Nicholas Poor, I mean, we've seen that he has had his struggles with the short ball, and actually just before Deepak Chahar bowled that ball, I kind of thought CSK don't really have this bowler of who bowls in the 140 mark where he can really test Nicholas Poor with the bouncer. But Deepak Chahar, but I actually thought it was a very good bit of captaincy because Deepak Chahar bowled the bouncer, and Nicholas Poon, he didn't keep his eyes on the ball, so the ball actually didn't go along the ground, and he hit it straight to, I think it was a deep backward square leg fielder. And so it was very good for CSK, and Punjab were 19 for 4. It was game done by that stage because, all of Punjab's top four back in the pavilion. So it was kind of game down at that stage. Deepak Huda's kind of soft dismissal didn't help. I mean, it was effectively just a seam-up delivery, which wasn't quite there to drive, but he just drove it straight to, I think it was mid-off. So it wasn't great for Punjab, and really the only score of note was from Shah Rukh Khan, who scored 47 off 36, and I thought he played very well. I mean, the thing is, I was thinking Punjab could maybe get to the 120 mark, thinking about what happened in the game between Rajasthan and Delhi, and so maybe CSK may choke, but they got to 106. And here's the thing about Punjab. So I'm going to use this as an opportunity to talk about Punjab here. So it's that I never really thought that their bowling attack would be able to put, as much pressure as, other franchises. And I thought that they would bowl with pace, they'd get the ball to move around. But, they would bowl a few kind of half volleys like Meredith did. And I never really kind of thought them really caging CSK, and they didn't, because the first 3 overs kind of, it was a bit of an iffy start for CSK, and Ruturaj Gaikwad got, out for 5 of 16 of Arshdeep Singh in the end, and he really didn't look comfortable. But you never thought CSK were going to lose the game, and Faf du Plessis and Moeen Ali basically ensured that CSK would win, and especially Moeen Ali was the aggressor, and really it was a very easy win in the end. Murugan Ashwin really didn't find his groove at all and just bowled kind of full wide deliveries, and he kind of got hit around a bit, and CSK won that game. And before I go on to CSK, about Punjab is that we saw from the first game that they played, and even from the previous season, and probably even I would say from that, their 2018 core, I don't really, I'm not really a fan of kind of the combinations that they've used for bowling, because this season, they're good bowlers, but the thing is, here's my thing on this. So Punjab had the biggest purse for this auction, and they had 53.2 crores, and so the bowlers that everyone wanted to pick in this auction that just went by were Jai Richardson and Riley Meredith. Now, Punjab, because of their purse, they bought both of them. And I was kind of thinking, would they have to only play one of them? Because you look at, they're both not death bowlers as such. And so I thought that they'd play one of them, and then they'd have to play Chris Jordan, who also provide kind of the batting at number 7. And, despite the fact, look, I still don't think he's, the most consistent, and, I still think he's a better athlete than he is a bowler, but at the death, you'd probably trust him more than you trust these two. And so you saw in the first game where, look, Mohammad Shami and plus 2 bowlers who aren't exactly proven at the death, it was almost a recipe for disaster, because, they won off the last ball in the end. If Sanju Samson had got that away for a 6, then, it's easier said than done, but I'm saying Punjab weren't exactly the greatest with the ball. And the thing is, going back to the first game, it's like you've got the 2 bowlers that everyone wanted, yet you don't really know how to use them. And I'm saying that you look at Riley Meredith. Now, in this second game, I thought, he did bowl a few good short ones, and, he definitely did bowl a few good balls. But I'm saying that it's like, was there actually any sort of a plan in the first game? Because you saw what he bowled. He just bowled half volleys. Now, he didn't bowl a single threatening short ball at all. And I think the only kind of remotely short one he bowled was one that I think it got hit over, behind square leg for 6. And so that was the only kind of remotely short ball he bowled. Apart from that, it was from his very first over, it was just half volleys. And, other full ones that, Josh Butler, his half volleys that Josh Butler drove, and also kind of, played the ramp shot for 4 and everything. And so there didn't really seem like there was any plan in that first game as far as Riley Meredith. And Jai Richardson, yes, he bowled that kind of slow ball Yorker to Josh Butler, which was an excellent delivery, but even he didn't really seem to, at the death, they kind of destroyed him a bit. And I think he went for 55, and Riley Meredith went for 49. And so all in all, these bowlers costed 22 crores as a combined price. And so you'd kind of, and given that they are exciting prospects, you'd kind of expect that they would have thought a bit more on how to use them. And, I'm happy for Meredith that, he got a bit of confidence today, and especially he won that battle against Rena comprehensively when, we've seen that Rena's been weak against a short ball, I'd say throughout his career, and we've seen it in the IPL, whenever quick bowlers have bowled to him, and today he was completely at sea. He got beaten by the short ball, so he tried to give himself room, and then he kind of got strangled down the leg side a bit. It was a leg side ball that was a bit straighter, but was still a bouncer, and he was completely at sea, and he got out for 8 off 9. And so Meredith, I feel like, would take confidence from, the way he bowled today. Apart from the few half volleys he bowled to Moeen Ali, I felt like, him coming into the attack, and Murugan Ashwin as well, they really didn't keep the pressure up at all, and in the end, that's why CSK pretty much cruised to the win. And that's on Punjab. It's just that, Also, as I said, because they don't play Jordan, their batting isn't very deep. And look, their top six is brilliant. I'd say, probably the second best batting lineup in the tournament after the Mumbai Indians. And, that's the thing. It's just that Jai Richardson plays at number seven, and he probably isn't cut out to be a number seven, to be honest. Probably at least a number eight. And so maybe playing Chris Jordan for them, despite the fact that, look, right, I mean, these two bowlers, Jai Richardson and Riley Meredith, are brilliant prospects. And you wouldn't really want to not play those two, especially given the money that you've paid for them. But maybe, especially now Mumbai has, we've seen in the past two games, it's not been this 220 pitch. But I'm saying that if at some stage it is, if they look at the surface and they think it is a 220 pitch, then if that situation arises, maybe Chris Jordan would, an actual death bowler on the side may help. And then CSK. So I'll be honest, I don't think this win really changes much for us. I mean, it's kind of a feel good, but I still don't think we'll qualify because, we just don't really seem to have the confidence that we had in previous seasons. Because I'm saying, we even came into the 2020 season, full of confidence with our reputation. Whereas I feel that because we have the same group of players from that season and, we saw how dismal the other season was, I think other teams are also realizing that, they're not in. They were never intimidated by us, but I don't really think that they look at these names on the team sheet and have the same, feeling that they would do before. And I feel like that could prove to, be kind of some CSK are going to have to up their game a little bit more to kind of, overcome that because this kind of I talked about this aura I think quite a few videos ago, and I talked about the fact maybe the fans not being there, and maybe the fact that it's a level playing ground, and so you only look at the cricket being played, and maybe CSK are a team. I mean, they definitely are a side that has such a huge fan base, and maybe they do rely on that kind of on those fans. But I'm saying that more than that, the players have kind of there are quite a few players, as I say, who don't play international cricket, and I think we'll probably have to say goodbye to in for the next year's auction. And I think I've actually kind of made a kind of a Word document with a squad that I would like to see in 2022, which I'll definitely be going through in the future. It's just that we don't really have that same aura that we had before, and again, because of that, okay, this is a feel good win. It's a pretty good performance. It's actually a very good performance. And the thing is about the dynamics of the team. Now, a lot of people may not agree with what I'm saying because these are two. In fact, you'd kind of be thinking, why am I talking about these two cricketers in particular? But two again, you may be surprised about this, but Ravindra Jadeja and Sam Curran. Now, here's the thing. So you've seen what they've done with the bat, but here's the thing. Amongst whatever they do with the bat, you look at our bowling attack and you see there's only one bowler who's really always threatening, and you know exactly what you're going to get from him every single time, and that's Deepak Chahar. I mean, apart from him, there isn't anyone. And there's Dwayne Bravo, who, look, he isn't at the peak of his game, and he's a very good fielder, and he bowled good slow balls against Delhi in the game that we lost, and was the most economical bowler for us that day. But I don't think we'll be able to expect that from him every single time, because he does bowl his fair share of full tosses nowadays, and his batting has definitely been on the wane, and for quite some time now. Because really, apart from I feel like he got a bit of confidence in 2018 after that brilliant innings in the best first game of an IPL ever, where he scored 68 off 20 to win us the game from basically nowhere. But he got a bit of confidence, and played a few cameos in that season. But apart from that, especially in the last two seasons, he really hasn't done much. And even in the T10 and stuff, he didn't do much with the bat either. And so I just think that we'll have to kind of be cautious to the way that how much we expect from Dwayne Bravo. I'm not writing him off, but I'm just saying we definitely won't be able to expect the things that he's done in the past. So there's Dwayne Bravo, and then there's Moeen Ali. I think is a very good off spinner, and him and Deepak Chahar. I think that I think you know what you get from them every time. But then there's Sam Curran, Shardul Thakur, who's been in good form since the England tour, but today he didn't exactly bowl that great, and Ravindra Jadeja. So especially on Sam Curran and Ravindra Jadeja, it's like you've seen how well they've done with the bat. And the thing is, especially when the batting was criticized last season, and I think the batting is definitely better now, even though we've got the same players. I feel like Moeen Ali's inclusion in the side just rejuvenated everything, and so we've got the same players, but the thing is, because the batting was criticized in the previous season, I feel like there was a lot of kind of praise available for players like Sam Curran, like Jadeja, who come in and give the team either finish innings for the side, or kind of you saw Sam Curran against the Mumbai Indians in that dismal performance. He scored 52 and got us to 114, and it's all well and good, but look what they do with the ball. Now, I've said this in a previous video. I don't think Jadeja in white ball cricket, his bowling, I don't think is up to the mark. I feel like Akshar Patel has been miles better for a long time, and it's probably apart from recent, I would say ever since that 86 not out against England in that test match, Jadeja's batting has grown to another level, and probably the best it's ever been. But I'm saying before then it wasn't really that great, and it is something you're going to have to take into consideration because, as I said, before, in fact, there was this time in 2017 where he was neither, in white ball cricket, he was neither batting well or bowling well. And that's what I'm saying, is that Akshar Patel has been good for such a long period of time, and in my view hasn't had a single bad season. He's been as economical as ever, and has still been good with the bat, walking in and playing some good innings at the end. I feel that he should 100% be in India's T20 squad, and he may do, but I wouldn't even mind him starting over Jadeja, to be honest, depending on conditions, because I do feel like in white ball cricket he is the better option. And I'm saying this because, you see Jadeja's bowling, it's a bit erratic. Let's be all right, today he bowled well, but, the conditions were suited to his bowling. And plus, even more than that, look who he was bowling to. I mean, Shah Rukh Khan being the only, recognized batsman at the crease, and then it's just the bowlers. And so, look, he did have a bit of... It was good for him that he was bowling to who he was bowling to. And then you look at Sam Curran. Now, Sam Curran with the bat has been excellent, but you look at Sam Curran with the ball, and what are you actually getting from him? Well, not much, because, I mean, all right, he took that hat-trick for Kings XI Punjab, I think in, 2019, against the Delhi Capitals to win Punjab the game, in a game they really should have lost. But apart from that, in bowling, he hasn't done anything, and when he runs in and bowls, you just, or at least me, I just don't seem to expect anything. There isn't really that flair. I mean, and the one situation that illustrates this is because, you look at their second choice bowler. So this is in CSK's first game. And who is it? You look at Delhi Capitals, Chris Wilkes. Now, you saw how Chris Wilkes bowled with the new ball, 1 for 8 in his 2 overs. And then you saw the way he bowled against Rajasthan Royals, where he got Butler out with that Jaffa of a delivery. And you also see the way that he can bat as well. And you think, look, the thing about all-rounders is you get picked, as a genuine batsman or a genuine bowler. But you cannot pick... is anyone really going to say that the CSK are picking out, and even their countries are picking Jadeja and Sam Curran as batsmen? No, because you're picking them as one of the 5 bowlers. And alright, CSK do have a lot of bowling options, but you are playing Sam Curran and Jadeja as bowling all-rounders. And Jadeja's batting has grown to this level, yes, but I'm saying... as bowling all-rounders and as bowlers, they are not doing enough for the team. And so, honestly, after seeing Chris Wilkes in that first game for Delhi, now, okay, he hasn't played for a long time in white ball cricket. And, ever since, I'll say, those ODIs against Australia, which is, quite a few months ago. And so, In fact, I think even before IPL 2020. And so the thing is that he hasn't played white ball cricket in a while, but after seeing Chris Wilkes in that first game against us, I mean, I was prepared to go give him the contract right there and tell him to sign for us, because honestly, if you look at the roles that he plays for a team, I feel like he would be a better option than Sam Curran, because Chris Wilkes and Deepak Chahar bowling 3 overs each in the power play, the opposition will not be able to buy a run. And that's where I think that Sam Curran and Ravindra Jadeja need to step up with the ball, because if they don't step up, this attack actually looks very toothless apart from Deepak Chahar. So after that, I'm going to go on to the next team, which is the Mumbai Indians. Now, so the Mumbai Indians lost their first game, which, isn't really much of a surprise because they've not won one since 2012. But, they still, they will qualify 100% in the top two. And the thing is, their batting, the core of their team is still the same. They have to easily have the best batting lineup in the entire tournament. And the reason why their batting hasn't exactly fired is because of the nature of, the pitch, like the pitches that they played on. So they played in Chennai twice. They've lost one, which, they lost off the last ball. So they've actually, even though they'd be rusty on their first game usually, they actually, they still did some mistakes in that game, and yet they took it to the last ball, which is a very good effort from them. And they kind of pulled this game out of the fire against KKR. And KKR will be very disappointed to lose that. And the thing about Mumbai is, look, the two bowlers that they have, Bumrah and Trent Bolt, they are just, Bolt's my favorite bowler, as I've mentioned before. They are quality. They can win half a game or at least a quarter of a game on their own. And I feel like them two are what keeps Mumbai Indians in contention to defend any score because of just how good they are. But then they have the inexperienced Marco Jansen, who I'm not going to judge, and I can understand why they are probably going to give him a long rope, because honestly, almost 7'2", left arm quick, who wouldn't give such a bowler a long rope? So that's on him. And the thing is that another thing on him is, look, he's taking up one overseas slot, and there are other experienced bowlers waiting like Nathan Coulter now, but the thing is, they are picking Marco Jansen, which I think is the right decision because, he probably has the largest scope for improvement. And let's see how he goes. And the thing is, the reason why they're batting lineup hasn't, the middle order hitters haven't exactly been going too well is because of the nature of the pitches. So you look at by the time so Chennai has been getting slower and slower as the innings goes on, and is especially hard to bat in the second innings this season. So by the time the middle order comes in, it's very hard to kind of get used to such a surface that has slowed that much. And that's why you see Kieron Pollard, he really hasn't been able to do anything in these first two games, because, and it's not really his fault. You look at Hardik Pandya as well. It's just that the pitch has slowed that much that it's hard to, get yourself in, and also keep in mind that you have to accelerate. And so it definitely has showed. And so that's why I'm not really too fussed that the middle order hasn't exactly done much, because as I said, that's just how it is really. And the one weakness that they do have is the spin department. You look at their three spinners, it's Krunal Pandya, Rahul Chahar and Rohit Sharma. And that really isn't going to win you many games, or so you would think, because they effectively pulled the game out of the fire against KKR, who'd be very disappointed with the way that they played. And I thought, Rahul Chahar, he bowled very well. I still don't think it was a 4 for 27 performance. I thought it was kind of a 2 or 3 for 27, but you'd say there's not much of a difference. We're probably, towards the side of the 2 for 27. I just do feel like, you look at Owen Morgan and you look at Shubman Gill, they kind of gifted their wickets. So that's on him, but he still did bowl very well. And Krunal Pandya with 1 for 13 in his 4, I feel like, you saw him at the end, but Andre Russell just couldn't get him away at all. And then, after he'd done his work, Bumrah, who had pretty much had a very poor game in his first 3 overs, comes back and bowls that, the last over that he bowled, and gave Trent Bolt a cushion. And Trent Bolt, bowls especially that Yorker to Pat Cummins was excellent, just sealing the deal. And it was a very surreal game to watch because you never actually thought that that would have happened, but it did. So that's on Mumbai Indians. I mean, not too much to say on them. I just feel like their spin department isn't exactly too great. And even if they played Piyush Chawla, he probably wouldn't have been able to get as much purchase off this Chennai wicket. And so that's 3 teams done. And the last team for, this video, I'm actually going to choose Rajasthan Royals. Now, Rajasthan Royals, Ben Stokes has been ruled out of the tournament of the finger injury of, the Chris Gale catch. And so this was quite a blow for the Rajasthan Royals, but in a way it kind of uncomplicated things because they could be sure that Joss Buttler would open the batting. I mean, I feel that Joss Buttler would open the batting and David Miller would play at number 4. And it was better for them because you kind of thought, should Stokes open the batting or should Buttler be a 4? But the thing is, Stokes isn't a natural opener and you're limiting Butler's effectiveness. So it's kind of a lose-lose. And so you'd much rather be clear in your mind that, you are definitely going to play with Joss Buttler in his, the position that optimizes his outputs, and David Miller, who is, who can bat at number 4. And yeah, you saw the first game. It was it was very kind of a sad moment when they didn't get over the line in the end. I thought that such a monumental innings was if this innings gets eclipsed by anyone in the tournament, that it will be one hell of an innings because I just at first sight, I do not think anyone is going to eclipse this Sanju Samson 119. They may score higher, they may, even that's a question mark. But with the context of the game, with such a pretty much a one-man show, really. I mean, you saw Parag hit a few boundaries, but really Sanju Samson was the one who took this game to where it ended in the end. Such a one-man show, I honestly don't think, with the context of the innings, I honestly don't think this innings will be overtaken this tournament. But if it does, we will have one hell of a tournament. And so, the thing is that, Rajasthan Royals fell agonizingly short in the first game. But I thought they turned up at, the Wankhede Stadium against an excellent Delhi team. And they were absolutely brilliant. I mean, Jaydev Unadkat, I was so happy to see him have that good bowling performance because we've seen him in domestic season. The reason why he gets picked is because 1, he's a left-arm seamer, kind of a tall left-arm seamer, and 2, he has good domestic seasons to back up, his selection. And that's why it's very frustrating to see him, not exactly, not having great seasons at all ever since 2017. And so, I mean, 2018, 2019, 2020 has been wretched seasons for him. And so him actually bowling on a surface that was suited to him, bowling slower balls, and especially the one to Ajinkya Rahane, I thought was excellent to get him caught and bowled. He bowled one that went across Prithvi Shaw, kind of a quicker one that got him caught. And I really thought Shikhar Dhawan's shot I thought was a very poor shot, and it was an excellent take by Sanju Samson. And that's his 3 wickets. He got 3 for 15 and 4. It was a brilliant performance, a brilliant return to success in the IPL, and I hope that he can continue this. Another highlight of that game, I thought, Mustafizur Rahman's slow balls. I mean, honestly, I've never seen someone, a fast bowler. I mean, he's not 140. He probably would reach that 140 mark much less nowadays because, I think probably injuries. But the way that he bowled that slow ball, especially to Marcus Stoinis, and how could, the thing is for me, is how can someone manage to keep their action legal and still manage to, land the ball in the spot that they want to, especially it was kind of like he was bowling an off break in a fast bowler's action with a run up and everything. And so I thought it took such skill and such control. I mean, I wouldn't think of doing that. I mean, I just can't think of anyone being able to do that because it's the first time I've seen that in all the years I've watched cricket. And so I thought it was an excellent performance from him as well. And all in all, I feel like Delhi did recover and got a competitive score on the surface. But RR, they overall deserve to win this game. And especially, you see in this game, 37 for 4 was what the Delhi Capitals were. And then 42 for 5 are what Rajasthan Royals were. And yet they managed to win the game because of David Miller's excellent 62 of 43. And then Chris Morris, came and with Jalen Winott kind of playing second fiddle, him hitting 1/6 of Chris Wilkes and giving the strike to Chris Morris. And Chris Morris, they paid the big bucks for him for this reason. He provides this balance for teams and his batting ability to finish games off, which he kind of hadn't seen in a while, to be honest. But, he showed why they paid big bucks for him this game, especially after a disappointing bowling performance in the first innings from him. He showed, why they paid the big bucks for him, and it was a very good performance from him. And I'll get to Tom Curran in my next video when I talk about the Delhi Capitals, because it honestly wasn't great for him, because you've seen he's not been doing very well for England, and in the 2 games he's played in this tournament, he really hasn't looked up to the mark. So yeah, that's 4 of these teams. And I'm actually going to talk about tomorrow's game, which Mumbai Indians versus the Sunrisers Hyderabad. Now, I was surprised SRH didn't do this against RCB, because before I get to them, look, Mumbai Indians pulled a game out of the fire, and the reason why it's not a great combo on paper with the context from before is because Mumbai Indians pulled a game out of the fire, and SRH lost the game against a far less potent attack. I mean, Shahbaz, I'm not discrediting him, but he literally just bowled floaty straight ones, and just 3 batsmen just hacking across the line and everything. And especially Manish Pandey's dismissal after a wicket fell, he just got out after playing 38 balls for 38. I mean, you'd be expected with the amount of money they're paying for him to take your team through, but he didn't do that. And it's kind of not a great combo for SRH, because you have a team that pulled a game out of the fire with a better, probably, a more threatening bowling attack than RCB, apart from Chahal. And then you have Sunrisers who, as I said, I mean, they literally lost 3 wickets in one over, and the bowling wasn't even, extraordinary. And that's the thing. So how SRH, what each team would be thinking about is, honestly, this is the thing. If I was Mumbai Indians, considering the fact that, as I said, the power hitters in the middle order, they don't really get into the game much if you're just purely a batsman, because, as I said, it's very hard to keep in mind to score quickly and to get used to the surface by then. I would actually drop Karen Pollard. It's not like I'm going to drop him for the tournament, but I would honestly drop Karen Pollard, because he's going to come in, and you saw what he did in the 2 games. He didn't really do much. He gave 12 runs in the 1 over he bowled. And honestly, what's the point? If anything, you could play Jayant Yadav, who would provide a batting option as well, because you already have, you have Hardik Pandya and Kunal Pandya. So honestly, it's not going to be, it's not like you don't have batting. And honestly, Jayant Yadav does kind of provide this bridge between, them and the lower order. And so, yeah, that's the thing, is that I may even play Jayant Yadav instead of Karen Pollard, because seeing the assistance that Chennai offers to spinners. And for Sunrisers, I feel like they should have done this, in the previous game. They should have played Johnny Bairstow opening. I thought they would try and chase down this total of RCB, like they used the theme that they used in 2019 and they've scored. I think 2019, and they had this opening, but I think both Bairstow and Warner scored 100, where they just blew RCB away. And using the hardness of the new ball and thinking of the fact that it's hard for, you saw Johnny Bairstow was not comfortable when he walked in at number 4 with the score, the scoreboard in mind and the slowness of the surface. He would have been much more comfortable opening the batting with David Warner, and they may have even killed the game off in the power play. And I feel they should do this against the Mumbai Indians. Attack Trent Bolt and get them to bowl Bumrah early, because if they manipulate their bowling attack, it would be very interesting to see how Mumbai Indians go about, because they honestly wouldn't. Their spin attack is, they would even admit it. It probably isn't up to the mark where it should be. They probably wouldn't admit it, but it definitely isn't up to the mark. And for as I said, for SRH, maybe they would drop Jason Holder, because honestly, I still don't think he gets the maximum purchase with his bowling in this wicket. Play Kane Williamson, so that if one of them gets out, Kane Williamson walks in at number 3 and stays there for the rest of the innings, because he's the one person who they were Sunrisers. If they had Kane Williamson in that game against RCB, he would not have played that full shot. He would have found some way to at least, even if the team doesn't win the game, he'd get them as close as possible. In fact, no. If Kane Williamson was there, you would think that he would kind of assess the situation so well that SRH probably would have got over the line. And so Kane Williamson at number 3 would give this insurance policy. And so even if one of Warner or Bairstow get out, the other one can continue going with Kane Williamson being a constant, from there on in, from the moment he walks in. And I feel like that's the thing. So, and if Sunrisers can play another bowler, to compensate for Jason Holder, I think that, in these kind of slow pitches, I found this year you've had to be inventive. Now, I probably wouldn't have suggested these things from last season, but, looking at the ways that possibly the underdogs can beat the defending champions, I feel like you have to be innovative. And I definitely feel like these kind of statement decisions that would be surprising, in a sense, would probably, I wouldn't really be surprised if they actually help the team win a game. If you enjoyed this video, please like and subscribe. Please share this video with your friends. And remember, this is my opinion. What's yours?